No Man's Sky, Worlds Apart, Part 1 on the Nintendo Switch. This is my first video of the patched version of No Man's Sky as of July 2024. I purchased this game of spring in 2024 for like $10. It was a cartridge. And the patch was available for free, of course, in summer of 2024. I want to say it was around July 20th, something around there. So this is version number 5.0. I've played every console version of No Man's Sky in previous videos. In fact, I'm probably going to upload bits and pieces of previous versions of this game, because obviously if you bought this game on disc for a console, the version you're playing is going to be different depending on which version you actually purchased. The original launch version of No Man's Sky can probably be purchased for about $10 if you can find a disc lying around, like a regular No Man's Sky disc. There's also No Man's Sky Beyond. I think it was No Man's Sky Next, which I believe was the first Xbox One disc for this game. And where are my discoveries listed? Do I have all my discoveries listed? I was hoping to find my galaxy map. Can I find my galaxy map? Yeah, here we go. It's probably good enough. And there's also No Man's Sky Beyond, which is the version I have on the PlayStation 4 that I got from the library. I'm downloading this patch for the PlayStation 4 to see if there are fewer bugs in it. Well, I make no promises. I want to say No Man's Sky Beyond, when that was patched for the Xbox One, it broke the game. I've mentioned in the past. You have to mine this. Excuse me, I have to mine this. Give me a second. I'm underground so that I can stay out of the radiation. This planet has a lot of radiation, so I'm going to have to try and see if I can stay sheltered. There we go. That was not buried. That was barely buried. So I'll let the scanner, I'll let that do its thing. I guess I'm going to have to explain this over the course of this playlist, because there's going to be a lot of downtime. So I'll have a chance to kind of document my thoughts about this game, which is infuriating to me in so many ways, because I really, really want to like this game. I've put 80 hours, I've also put 50 to 60 hours into this game on all the console ports. For reasons I'll explain later, that I've never been able to play more than 10 hours of any console port, because at some point all of those ports break and I can't make any more progress because I've been soft locked into a loop where the game crashes constantly and I can't load a new game because the game only allows 2 game saves. Again, I'll have to explain that as I go along. See here? There's an autosave that I believe occurs every time that you exit or enter your spaceship. And there's a restore point that I believe is set every time you manually save at a waypoint, for example. Now, are there other saves that I can make along the way? Heck if I know. But if the game soft locks, like if you load a game save or you reach a point in the game and it just breaks or crashes, you can probably try to revert to one of your earlier saves, but there appear to be only 2 saves, which for a game like this is almost a deal breaker, because the game is so broken. I cannot reliably play this game for more than 10 or 15 hours without something inevitably breaking, and I can't make progress anymore. Or the game just constantly crashes and I can't make any more progress, so I lose all of that progress I've made up to this point. So I don't want to get too invested in some piece of gear that I have here on my kit. I don't want to get too attached to this multi tool. I don't want to get attached to my exosuit or any of my starships or any of the upgrades I've made, because they're inevitably, my concern is that at some point this game's going to break and I'm going to lose all the progress I've made up to this point. So my strategy is always, okay, after 50 hours, I've come to the conclusion that this game is probably going to be stable enough for me to play it reliably. Maybe on PC. It might get to the point where if this game costs like $8, if this game costs $10 on PC, I'd probably buy it. If I knew it were stable. Otherwise, I'm just waiting for the developers to eventually get their act together and figure out a stable build and then not break it later like they did the Xbox One version. Which I'm still somewhat mad about because I played that game. I played No Man's Sky next. It was fine. And then they patched it and then they broke it. The game is... I don't know if the game was unplayable since then. But I played a video on this channel where I think I tried to play the Xbox One version of No Man's Sky Beyond, and they broke it. The frame rate's way lower. The game crashed every time I repaired my spaceship and tried to take off for the first time. It just broke. The game would just hard crash back to the Xbox One dashboard. I'm like, so you took a game that worked, you made the frame rate worse, you added a bunch of motion blur to compensate for it, and now it breaks more often. So how is this a patch? You basically, it's like, I can't blame Microsoft. Hell, these developers took a game that was, I guess, functional and made it run worse on the same console. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I've never seen a patch that made the game run worse. And yet that's what happened with the Xbox One version. Ostensibly to make the game run better in 4K on the Xbox One X, right? Why would you go through the trouble of taking a game that probably ran at 30 frames a second and made it run at 24 and added a bunch of motion blur to compensate for it just so you can work on your fancy 4K, whatever. We'll talk about that later. What am I even doing here? I'm not following the main line. I'm just kind of figuring out how reliable how stable this patch is. There are bugs that I've noticed so far. For instance, I'm underground. Like a couple, nothing game breaking yet, but the reason I'm keep digging holes in the ground is because there's radiation here. So I'm trying to stay underground so I can stay out of the radiation. So if I'm at least like what, a meter or two underground, I can basically do this. I can look around in peace, not have to worry about keeping my suit clean. Another buried technology module over there, so I'll probably tag that. I'm ostensibly here to investigate a crashed freighter, which we'll do a bit later. I just want to see, again, I can only make one waypoint at a time, but the reason I'm doing this, by the way, my ship is over here. Yeah, it's in that direction. I'm not going to stray too far from the ship, but I parked the ship between an observatory, I believe, and a freighter, so we'll do both. So there's a bunch of stuff that's in the area that I can grab. So if I hold down the left trigger, I can kind of just peek around me and kind of see if there's anything nearby. So where's my destination exactly? I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, I chose the destination. I forgot which one it was. I got turned around. Is this a bug? I'm pretty sure I marked something. Subterranean organic structure. It might be in a cave. Let's see what the deal is. And this isn't bad. This terrain manipulator isn't bad because every time I bust a rock, I get the silicate powder on the top right-hand corner of the screen, which regenerates the beam. So I want to say every time I crack rock, I get fuel to recharge the battery. You will see some of that. Occasionally, you'll start to walk forward and the game just stops. Yeah, the game just flat out stops letting you build. Stops letting you burn through the wall for some reason. Don't know why. So there, like I said, I might see more of that later as I play along the video. So we'll see how it goes. Do I have to scan again? You don't need any oxygen or any hydrogen, shockingly. Buried technology module. Okay, so it's right over here. And it's not showing up on my compass at the top of the screen, so that's weird. So let's go in this direction. Again, we're underground still, so we can afford to stay underground because we're not losing. Our suit isn't taking too much Our suit is not getting contaminated by radiation, so that's good. And you see right here, occasionally you'll be mining like this, and the game will just stop. Like for some reason, I can't bust through this wall. And this does happen somewhat often. Yeah, I guess that fixed it. So whatever bug was happening with the mining laser is now fixed. Yeah, like it'll occasionally stop working, then it'll start working again. I don't know why that's a thing. There were a couple of occasions where I would sit here for 10, 15 seconds and I can't advance like this. So I probably have to aim it in a different direction and then it'll start working. So I don't really know what's going on with this laser. It's somewhat flaky and now I'm just out of power, so I can recharge that. Give me a second. So like I said, every time I bust through this rock, I get silicate powder, which I use to recharge the beam. So we're good. So we can just go back to doing this. So thankfully we aren't going to get stuck. The game's economy might be set up in a way where every time you bust a rock, you get fuel. So you're basically drilling your own fuel. And that's fine. That's how it's supposed to be. We need to go up, don't we? There it is. Tech module. I got salvage data. I got a bunch of salvage data here in my exosuit. I want to say most of it's on my ship. This is supposed to be used at construction research units. I'm hoarding these, but I need to take these back to my base, I believe. So we'll do that when the time comes. So I'll hit the scanner. On the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you can see the scanner meter, that little radar filling up slowly on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, below Awakenings. So while that scanner is recharging, I can look around and see where the nearest bit of loot is. And there seems to be quite a bit here. So I'm not going to waste too much time doing this. I'm just showing you what I'm trying to accomplish in this particular section. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not following the story. I'm just trying to get my bearings, which means spending a couple of hours trying to get my suit back to a salvageable state. Not my suit, actually, but actually more my starship and my multi-tool. Yeah, my multi-tool had a bunch of damaged modules here. Like you can see all these squares. All these modules here, a lot of these were broken. So I had to repair them with paraffinium, uranium, and some other materials that I mined. Unfortunately, there were a couple of bugs where I would repair an item. Like, for instance, I had some paraffinium down there at the bottom. Let's say that I had paraffinium and I put it inside and I used it to repair the item, but now I also need pyrite and dioxide. Okay, so let's say I successfully applied the paraffinium repair ingredient, but now I also need 2 other ingredients. Sometimes these 2 ingredients on top would change, just something random. So even though let's say I already found the paraffinium, and I already found the pyrite, so I would come back later, the paraffinium ingredient had already been applied, but the pyrite disappeared. It got replaced by something else. So all of the ingredients that I invested in repairing that item just disappeared. They bugged out. And I don't know when that happened. I think the problem, I guess, resolved itself at some point. But that was disconcerting. I might have spent, like 5 minutes hunting down some ingredients. And then I apply the ingredients here. And then for some reason the game didn't recognize it. It's like it forgot that I added one of the ingredients that it needed. You don't have to apply all these ingredients at once. I have some paraffinium on my ship, I believe. So I could apply the patch right now and then just look for some pyrite or dioxide somewhere else. I might have to make it back at my base. We'll see how it goes. But there's a bunch of stuff like this is the thing I've been focusing on, which is finding the ingredients I need to repair my multi-tool. Or maybe look for another one, which isn't terrible. You luck out in this game. There's a lot of randomized crap in this game. You might go to a base and, an alien might offer to trade you. They might offer you a multi-tool that has more slots or better upgrades. Like this scanner is what? I don't even know what class. This is a Class B scanner. See on the right side of the screen next to this pop-up window? It's a Class B. Someone might offer me a multi-tool with a Class A scanner. And maybe a Class... Actually, is that a Class A scanner? No, it's not. okay, this is a Class B multi-tool. So it might offer me a Class A multi-tool with more slots down here for upgrades. Or better upgrades. Like, they might have an upgrade for the terrain manipulator that causes it to use less fuel. You know, so that there might be more useful modules here. Like, the overclock scope might give me 2,000% more rewards and 1,700% more rewards. Or what are those rewards you're asking? Well, whoops, wrong button. So what are the rewards you're probably asking? Well, it's not here. I have to go to the main menu. If I go to discoveries, right? Yeah, I have to go here, and I should be able to get money from all this stuff, right? Discover 13 flora, right? Okay, hit the wrong button. So we can upload our data. You might want to rename it to something that's easy, that describes what elements are on there, but whatever. I'm not that invested in it. I'll probably start changing names later if it makes it easier for me to track my progress. Because like I said, I don't want to get too attached to any particular universe, you know what I'm saying? Because in this universe is a bit unstable, let's just put it that way. View. Okay, so did I upload all these already? Press the Y button to upload, and I get 3 nani clusters. So I'm getting 3 nani clusters for all of these. I could also go back. Should be another. I think there's a quick way to upload all of these. Nope. Upload. So I can upload these waypoints. And I got 3 nani clusters. So can I back out? Okay, I can do that. Rename. So can I want to name my discovery. Press the Y button, upload a discovery, and receive 10 nani clusters for the planet, I guess. View all information gathered on this planet. Got a waypoint, so I can upload that for 3 more nani clusters. So it's stuff like that. Nani clusters, I believe, are used to purchase upgrades. Back at the space station, I forget, it's been at least, what, a year since I played this game. I think it's been about 9 months since I played this game on the Switch. Again, I want to like this game. I'm just waiting for it to get to a point where I can feel comfortable actually investing in it without losing all my progress. Which, as I said before, I've played all the console versions, every single one of them, but unlike Skyrim, this game is even more broken than Skyrim. And anyone who wants to fight me about it, post a comment. I'm not looking for engagement, I'm looking for constructive critique. I know there are people like Dan Olson, you know, over at Folding Ideas, who's like, look, the launch version of No Man's Sky, it's fine. It's pointless. It's endless. Kind of like the universe. Like, I guess he was making, like, he was making a case for the launch version of No Man's Sky as a vibe game, I guess. And my response is, it will be a great vibe game when it becomes stable and less tedious. Like, I maintain, like, games like, you know, Fallout and stuff like that. Fallout, like your Fallout 4s and your Skyrims. To me, those games work on their own because they're abnegation platforms, but they're abnegation platforms with more meaningful mechanics than the original No Man's Sky had. Which I would argue was just like, how would I describe it? I wouldn't call it an activity set, but I would compare it to, I guess let me put it this way. Imagine going to a beach, looking for seashells, and then meticulously itemizing every seashell, and then trying to, like, you're cataloging every seashell at the beach and not spending any time in the water is how I would describe the original No Man's Sky. It was fine. Like, yeah, maybe you're genuinely interested in, like, making a really crappy sandcastle out of the shells you find on the beach. But I think at some point you need to do something that's a bit more, I don't know, more complex than just how do I describe it? It's like collecting seashells at the beach is cool, I guess. But I wouldn't want to spend 50 hours doing it and not at least go in the water once. You know what I'm saying? I should probably leave this area because I'm just gathering random bits of loot that might even be. That might be the other problem. A lot of loot in this game is probably not that meaningful. What was that I just unlocked? That might have just been the item that I was looking for. Was that a custom waypoint? That might be a custom waypoint. We can ignore that. I think I accidentally placed a custom waypoint over there. So we're not going to spend all day inside this tunnel. We'll step outside and see if we can grab anything else. I guess I should go that way. Even at night, this place has radiation poisoning, so be careful. So where's my destination? See, that's the other problem, is that sometimes the destination disappears. I press the Y button for a waypoint. Now it doesn't appear on my compass, does it? There it is. So it is on my compass. So as you saw earlier, I used the Y button to tag that waypoint, and it disappeared at some point. I don't know what's going on. So let's make sure I'm choosing the terrain manipulator. So hopefully this won't bug out, and I can still dig to get to that buried cache. Again, I'm staying underground so that I don't get exposed to as much radiation. So I can afford to use the scanner. Like I said, this will occasionally happen. The mining laser the terrain manipulator will just stop working, and I can't keep digging. It's like I have to wait for the game to load the assets. It might get worse later. We'll see how it goes. But I have been playing this patched version for about 8 or 9 hours. And this mining laser has stopped working randomly multiple times since I started this particular playthrough. Give me that. Okay, so I got a species record. So I went inside there. That's all I got. So I learned about a species that probably doesn't exist on this planet. So I'll get credit for that, but that doesn't seem like much of an upgrade. So let's find something a bit more useful. Give me a second. Let me at least make a ramp to get out of here. Okay, see, I saw that. Is it still broken? There we go. So let's make a ramp to get out of here. So we're looking for, darn it. It's probably over in the other direction. So we can head over there. We can head over to that. Don't know what that is. We'll head over there. So can I mark that out on my scanner? I'm going to have to make a custom waypoint. Granberry. I don't really care about the knowledge stone. Is that building... Is there nothing inside that building that I need to explore? Pulpy roots. Okay, so we'll head over there. That building might be closer than I think. So my radiation levels are stabilizing while I'm down here. So I already unlocked that, so the game shouldn't be implying that I haven't. And I might have to go back to my ship to recharge. So keep that in mind. I'm going to have to recharge my suit, my hazmat suit. So there's the knowledge stone. So I learned it. So again, stuff like this. You'll randomly learn words, but you're basically learning you're basically learning less than 0.1% of the vocabulary you need to actually form a coherent sentence in that language. It's like you can probably learn words as you go, but to be brutally honest, you're probably never going to learn more than one meaningful word every hour or so. At most. I would say once every 5 hours you're learning a meaningful word that you can use in a conversation. But how many words do you think I will have to collect before the game allows me to form a coherent sentence without gobbledygook? Because the way the game does dialogue, it gives you the character speaking gobbledygook unless they say a word you know. Okay, we're here. So what is this? Is it a space station? Is it like a port? This is not an ancient ruin. So we should be able to hit the top. Ooh, I could probably send my ship over here. So it might be a space station. So if I might need nav data to teleport my ship over here. Because you can summon your ship if you have nav data, I believe. But nav data is consumable. And I guess I should probably mention this once I get indoors. Here we go. I can also talk to these guys and have them sell me their ships. We'll worry about that later. Let me get indoors. You can run with the okay, so now my hazmat suit's repairing. Perfect. All right, so this is a good place to be. So let me at least show you a couple of things here. Here in the Switch version, there are some options that are actually incredibly useful. I'd say they're accessibility-based, but they're also difficulty-based. Where are they? Go back. Discard changes. I want to say they're accessibility options. Hold for important. I'll probably have to go to the main menu. Are they difficulty options? Yeah, stuff like this. You can turn the survival elements on hazards and health only. In other words, the exosuit requires upkeep in several areas. Health and shields, protection against environmental hazards, and generalized life support. I turned off full, just so I can get back into the groove of things. Once I get more comfortable with that, I can turn it back on. But that's not one of the more having to repair your suit and fix your life support isn't one of the most interesting things about this game. In fact, it's one of the more tedious parts of this game. But one thing the game does let you do is turn it off so that any life support items you collect could be sold for cash, if you just don't want to have to deal with it. Survival difficulty. Challenge, standard, or relaxed. Again, this was not available in the original cartridge form. I believe all this got added as part of the patch to version 5, the Worlds Apart patch. Sprinting, standard rules. Relaxed sprinting removes the life support cost, but still requires occasional short breaks to recharge. Okay. Infinite sprinting removes all. I think I should turn sprinting on relaxed. Because I think I want to be able to move more quickly. This is kind of ridiculous. This is not a game where you have to sprint. It's not a game where sprinting should be that. There should not be a serious penalty for sprinting in this game because everything's too far away. So relaxing the sprinting penalty seems fine to me. Exosuit and starship scanners with locations can reveal additional information. Scanner recharge standard. I can change that if I need to. I'll let you know if I just decide to. The setting adjusts how quickly the scanner recharges. Why would you ever make that challenging? Damage levels, I understand. What happens if you crack? What happens if you what's your fall damage basically? Technology damage minimal. Setting scales the probability of breakages to install technology when receiving damage. Oh, okay. Death consequences. No item loss. I changed that. Items destroyed means people permanently lose all carried inventory items, which would suck so much. Standard. Drop all carried inventory items to a grave. The Dark Souls mechanic. If you return to your body, you get back all your stuff. Save delete is permadeath. Why would you? Again. Would that make the game much better? I doubt it, but it changes the choices you make, obviously. But again, for people who've played this game for thousands of hours, I'm sure some people have, it's another way to play the game. I would never do a hardcore run of Skyrim, for instance, unless I were cheating. Even more than I normally do. Some rule sets are just ridiculously frustrating. There's no reason to make people do that. Anyway, some people just like to punish themselves. This is fun I like a good challenge. I don't like tedium. I don't like tedium affixed to a challenge like that. This isn't that kind of game. It's a game with a quadrillion planets. I don't think you need a hardcore death mode. But again, some people like the tension that goes with knowing you might lose everything you've spent months accumulating. You might lose your dragon horde, you know what I mean? Technology such as the mining laser fuel usage. Launch thrusters. So you can reduce. Yeah, you can make it free if you want, which actually sounds interesting. Again, reducing the need to harvest and craft certain things. That sounds interesting. Crafting, purchases are standard. You can make them expensive. Goods available, standard, scarce, or abundant. Inventory stack limits. You can't change that, apparently. Apply difficulty changes. I don't remember what I changed. I probably changed something that was important. Enemy combat strength, on-foot combat. when exploring how many hostile creatures show up, you know. Are they predominantly defensive? Are they just passive? Or are there predators wandering around? If you want to play the game that way, of course. You can lock your difficulty settings. No, when you lock the settings, no settings will ever be able to be changed. Wow, dude. Reputation and standing gain. Fast, very fast, or standard. So again, you can turn a lot of this stuff off. Base power. You having to maintain your base. So once you learn the system, I guess they can make that. I have not been able to make the power system work for my base, I don't think. Because I haven't been able to figure out, like, for instance, it's not very well explained. So I was never able to power my base reliably. So I have to figure that out. Again, do I want to spend another hour figuring that out, or going online and reading an FAQ? I don't know. I tend to believe that game should explain this stuff within the game itself. But, you know, it's too much to ask. They spent so much time working on their motion blur and their water effects. Imagine if they actually invested that time in, I don't know, making the game's in-game's documentation more helpful. Make the game work better on the Switch. Make the game work better on base consoles from the previous generation. Stop adding crap that's ornamental and cosmetic. That's just my take. You know, I don't care about the water effects. I care about, will my game crash, and will the game crash and soft lock my progress and force me to redo 50 hours of content? Well, I forced to redo 50 hours of progress, because you can't retrace your steps in this game. The universe is always different. So you never want to get attached to any particular playthrough. Blueprints and components. What you want to do is learn something new about the game, so that the next time you're forced to reset your progress, you're not wasting time doing a thing. I wasn't paying attention to the choice I just made. I might have left. Interloper is pathetic. So basically, I've learned those words. But all the gobbledygook in the middle that's in white are words I have not learned. I can purchase components. I can also sell items here. Definitely want to sell these vortex cubes. I can also sell the rest of my silicate powder. There's plenty more where that came from. Congealed worm meat. I can process that. I can sell it for $500 or process that into something more useful. Facium, foul smelling. Could be fed to creatures to encourage. So it's like Slime Rancher, I guess. I can throw that inside the spaceship. Because my spaceship is my storage. I don't know if I should be able to store things in my base, right? I think there's a safe where I can keep some ingredients that I don't want to lose if I'm flying. I gotta want pirates to steal it, that kind of thing. So I keep it in my safe, back on my base. Sell the rusted metal, of course. Gonna keep the navigation data until I get back to a space station. Species record. So I don't have to upload it. I could just sell it as is. Okay, I guess I can do that. I can also sell this stuff to other things. I don't know if the price is different. Purchase blueprints. Waveform recycler, radiation. Yeah, this is what you need the nanites for. I'm probably not going to buy any of this. I'm also going to end the video pretty soon. Increases the recharge rate, increases the sprint distance, increases the sprint recovery time, I guess. But here's the more important issue. If you turn off the... I just did this earlier. I reduced the cost of sprinting, so I arguably won't need that. But if you're playing the game normally, it might be useful. Increase the scan radius, reduce the charge time. Sounds useful, but it's kind of expensive. It requires 120 nanites. You can see on the top left-hand corner of the screen, I got 2,000 of them. So that's not bad. That barrel line. Yeah, I'm not using the bowcaster very often. It's an actual combat weapon. I'm not gonna. I really only need the combat weapon to like blow open locks, to shoot locks off of doors, basically. There's supposed to be like an actual merchant terminal around here. Like I can go to a terminal and sell all my stuff there if I don't want to sell it to an alien. I don't know if the price is different though. I think all merchants sell things for the same prices. I think I was supposed to buy something, like a map or something, so I can print the chart for 15 nanites, and that's fine. I have enough nanites to make it worth it. And remember, I'm earning nanites by finding stuff. I can call my starship, but I need a navigation data. So I got an artifact chart. Let's see what that even does. An artifact chart. I never let me process this. So this is worth $780, and and the alien was willing to buy it. Let me get out of the radiation. Yeah, but why was I even in the radiation? Aren't we shielded? Now we're shielded, okay. So now we're shielded. So we got a planetary archive. Okay. Gives. So I got access. So I can decrypt the... So I said gives. Poetry? What is this, a library? I don't want to read. Get out of here with that. Okay, can I skip this? Okay, I guess we'll do that later. It's a codex, I guess. An actual lore dumping. So before I forget, we're gonna end the video. We're gonna come back to this in a second. This is me trying to get my bearings again. After it took me 5 hours to get my bearings back. Because it's so easy to forget how to play this game. So remember, this item was worth $480 here, but it was for $500 if I sold it to the alien, which I thought was weird. I think that's based on my standing. So I guess I got this Mordite, which is way more valuable than the worm compost I had earlier, I guess. I can crack this. I can sell this for $3,200 or crack it open with the Y button and earn... What did I get? Oh, I got this. Ooh! I got this extremely valuable alloy metal I can sell for a lot of cash. So there might be other items in my inventory that I can break down later. I'm not going to worry about it. So we'll come back to No Man's Sky in a second. Let me see if I can save my game officially somewhere here. I don't even know what this place is called, because I want to say there's a place where I can save my game without having to summon my spaceship. I could also run back to my spaceship. Is there like a save point where I can like manually save my progress? Well, the game might automatically be saving my progress though every time I like go to something like this. Like if I go here, the game might automatically be saving my progress. Six pages. So we'll come back to this in a moment. No Man's Sky. What is that? No Man's Sky. This is news, isn't it? Worlds Apart. Yeah, No Man's Sky 5.0 Worlds Apart. Worlds Part 1.